Welcome back to Rewired Logic. In the previous video I showed you how to dismantle a pilot valve and how to clean it. In this video I'm going to show you a little bit more about the cleaning and also lubricating them and putting them back together. In the previous video I showed you how to clean all the parts of the pilot valve, especially all the shafts and the little valves. Washing it with soap and water does get most of it off, but not necessarily all of it. I also then explained that you might need to use a bit of scourer to scrub off any little bit of sediment, anything that's still stuck on there, so that you have a nice clean, smooth surface. So I've already done that, and as you can see with all the parts I've got lying around here now, they're all clean. Compared to the first video, you can see that they have been scrubbed really clean and really smooth. Now, apart from cleaning all these individual little parts with a scourer even if needed, we have to look inside these chambers where the valve seats. Sometimes a little bit of dirt builds up there, and the bit that you have to worry about is right at the bottom of this chamber. If the housing on the inside has a bit of stuff on it, it's maybe not as important to worry about that, unless if it's already a bit loose, it could probably break loose and clog up the rest of the pilot valve. So yeah, maybe it's not a bad idea to clean it, but it doesn't have to be absolutely spotless like you would see with the diaphragm plate, shafts, or with the little valves that go in there. I want to show you at the bottom of one of the big chambers, there's two little holes there. We're going to use compressed air from another side to blow out any extra moisture when we're cleaning this out and drying this off, and this is where the air is going to come out. If you don't have air coming out of these two holes when you use the compressed air, then something is blocked, and then we might have to take this apart even further. For now and for this video, I'm just gonna, and for what I do normally anyway, is I'm just going to use the compressed air and I'm going to clean out all the bits of the pilot valve. I'm not going to go much further than that because I'm hoping that some of it will be a problem, and I'll show you in another video when it does become a problem, when you test them, how they get stuck and how you can clean this out. So after the cleaning and inspecting, the next thing we need to do is to lubricate all the moving parts and O-rings so we can put it back together again. And I think for a few people the question remains, what do you use to lubricate it with? Well, over the years I've used many different things, tried different things, and at the end of the day what I found in my experience is the most successful lubricants to use is very thin lubricants. So like WD-40 is very thin, machine oil is also fairly thin, but when you start getting into oils and grease and thicker lubricants, like maybe some 556, what happens is if the quality of the air or the conditions in which the positioner works is not very good, the dirt gets stuck to this lubricant much easier if it's a bit thicker, a bit more viscous. So for me, the thinner the oil is, the thinner the lubricant is, the better. Now that we've lubricated all the parts, I'll show you how to put it back together again. I'm going to start with a big housing. The first thing I'm going to put in is the O-ring. I'm doing this first because it'll be a little bit harder to do once the springs are in. Next, I'm going to put in one of those little valves. Once that has been seated, I'm going to put the little spring in, being careful to watch that the spring seats nicely onto this valve, into the recess. After that, I can put on the brake spring and then put the cover back on. For the smaller housing, I'm going to follow a similar process. The only thing missing from the small chamber is the big spring, but I'm going to follow the same process of putting this together. The next step for these two housings is to put the circlip back in. Now you have to be very careful when you put these circlips in, because if you don't seat them properly, they will jump out. And they might not jump out right now, but when you go to test them and you've got compressed air on them, that circlip will blow out, and it will blow out everything from that chamber, and it'll either be missing or you'll have to crawl around on the floor trying to look for them. So I suggest, after you've put the circlip in, is to make sure that it's seated properly by tapping down onto the circlip and also moving the circlip around maybe a quarter turn. That will ensure that it is seated properly. Now what I mean by moving the circlip about a quarter turn is you take a screwdriver, you stick it in the hole of the circlip and you apply a bit of pressure and she'll turn. It's a bit hard for me to show you this right now because I need to hold on to the chamber, but you can see what's happening. Once we have the circlip in place for both chambers, we can put the little O-rings at the bottom of the chambers. Our next step is to get the diaphragm plate. This can only go in one way, and I'll show you which way it goes. The orientation has to be correct, otherwise the pilot valve won't work. So we'll take this diaphragm plate and then we'll take the square plate and put the square plate onto the diaphragm plate together, and then it's ready to go. As you can see, there are two recesses in the small chamber. One recess is completely opposite side to where the O-rings go. The other one is 90 degrees off. This is where the diaphragm plate arm goes. It goes 90 degrees when looking at the O-rings. The square plate sits closest to the small chamber. Make sure everything lines up properly, and when that's done, put the 4 screws in and tighten them evenly. If you force the arm on the diaphragm plate up and down towards the small and the big chambers, you should be able to hear air being pushed around a little bit. And if you have a look at the bottom of the pilot valve where we've put the O-rings, you should be able to see the shaft push the valves up and the spring bringing them back down again. So that is one pilot valve done. Obviously I've still got parts left for 2 more, so I'm going to lubricate them up, put them back together, and I'm hoping that you will stay around for the next video where I will test these 3 pilot valves and show you how we test them to make sure that they are functional, and if there's any problems, how we solve them. And if I don't pick up any troubles with this 3rd video when testing them, I will simulate a fault and show you how to fix that. Thank you for watching Ray Wired Logic. Please stay tuned for the 3rd part of overhauling pilot valves. Thank you for watching Ray Wired Logic. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and especially even leave a comment if you can. And join me for the next part in the video of overhauling pilot valves.